What's up everyone, Brandon here from Gearist. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Shola 230 leggings from KORA. As we all know by now, layering is the way to go when we're heading outside and it's a little chilly, or even not so chilly. Part of that is because it's easier for the body to heat up small spaces in between layers rather than having to heat up big spaces like large baffles in kind of old school big channel coats and things like that. Another part of it is the convenience in adapting to different conditions, where you start off early in the day, it might be very cold, and as it warms up over the day you can shed layers, and then when you get to the top of a mountain or something and you're coming down and cooling off, you can put those layers back on. It's that kind of adaptability that is a key aspect of layering. So then the question becomes, what exactly are those layers made of? Currently the standard bearer for base layers is usually something like merino wool, and today what we're going to be taking a look at is something kind of sort of along those lines. And this stuff right here from KORA is actually made of yak wool. Now if you're not familiar with what a yak is, this is a yak. Before we talk about anything else in this review, let's talk about how this yak wool is obtained. In the spring, the yaks that live in the Himalayan plateau begin to shed their really super soft underlayer of wool as their bodies prepare for summer. This wool is collected by the nomadic herders of the Himalayan plateau, as I mentioned a second ago, and then that is what is processed to be the wool that we're using here for this piece by KORA. Part of what this means is that the treatment of the animals is really kind of inconsequential. There is no live pulling, no shearing, nothing like that. All they're doing is sitting there literally waiting for this soft underbelly of wool to fall off of the animal, and they pick it up off the ground. This results in both happy herders because they don't get stepped on, and happy, most of the time, yaks because, well, they just don't get messed with, and yaks can be a little bit ornery. The wool that we're going to be taking a look at today is what is in this piece. This is the 230 legging, and if you swing on over to Gearist.com, you'll see another review that kind of combines this, the 230 legging, and the 230 crew top, both of which make up the 230 Shola 230 base layer from KORA, and we reviewed both pieces. Rachel took a look at the crew top, I took a look at these leggings, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. This, once again, is made from KORA's 230 Himalayan. See what they did there? Which, according to KORA, and I'm going to read this here, is wonderfully warm in very cold weather, yet cool and comfortable during intense exercise. Breathable and moisture wicking, unlike synthetic fabrics, which can feel clammy. Soft and itch-free with a natural stretch that flexes as you move. Naturally odor-resistant, so you can wear it for days at a time and pack light. Built-in UPF 40, this is a sun protection factor, 40 plus, so it's going to keep you kind of like a sunscreen, if you will. Easier to care for. No need to hand wash, you can machine wash it, and then you do have to lay it out to dry. But that's about it. Now all this sounds very similar to merino wool, but here's kind of where the superior part of yak wool comes into play. Once again, according to KORA, because if I tried to quote these, I would screw it all up. It's 40% warmer weight for weight than merino wool, 66% more breathable, and is 17% better transporting water vapor away from the skin, which is, again, part of that warmth, because keeping your body dry, keeping the moisture, the sweat, what have you, wicked away from the body is definitely part of what keeps you warm and able to adapt to those temperatures. Just like merino, it's soft and naturally odor resistant. This makes sense when you think about each animal's natural habitat. While merino sheep live at around 1,000 meters, or I think that's something like 3,300 feet, give or take, above sea level, yaks are tougher still, enduring hail, ice, wind, and rain at about 5,000 to 6,000 meters of altitude. So it's some pretty cool stuff there. But who is KORA and how do they fit into this process? As a company, KORA's been around since about 2012, and since that time they've been sourcing much of their wool through the Kagawa Herders Cooperative. This is a group of about 92 nomadic families that are doing what their families have been doing for thousands of years. The way that KORA works within this is that they guarantee the herders that they are going to pay a premium price, better than anybody else is going to be able to match, and then at the end of the year, KORA kind of gives them a nice little bonus for working with them as kind of a thank you. Now, with only 92 families, this isn't really enough wool to sustain all of KORA's materials that they need in a given year, so outside of that, they work within local cooperatives and local connections to fill out the bulk of their orders. Moving forward, KORA helps to keep growing that Kagawa Herders Cooperative in order that they may one day 100% source all of their yak wool through that channel. So with all that said, KORA is not sourcing their fabric from somewhere else. They're sourcing the raw materials, and all of the fabric, all of the actual finished wool, like material that you're seeing here is built by KORA. So now while there won't be a test later, now you have way more information than you ever thought you needed to know about yak wool. And now we're going to take a look at the Shola 230 leggings. As you can see, this is a full-length legging, basically like a long underwear base layer. This also comes in a 3/4 length, which works really well with a ski boot in case you don't want any chafing or pressure spots under there. KORA's gone out of their way to build their pieces in accordance with the body. So they're not just building from a mold or something like that. They're really looking at the body. And the first place that I noticed this was a particularly high waist. So if I let the legs hang down like this, you'll notice that it comes up rather high in the tush. So part of the reason for this is because if you're bending and moving and stretching, and if you're on a touring thing where you're alpine touring or something like that, any place where you're moving a whole lot, if you're just cutting up to the natural waist or the waist where we naturally wear our clothes today, you're cutting low. And as you move like that, what's going to happen is you're going to be showing some crack at some point. So this is their way to really cover that. Now, when Rachel took a look at the Shola 230 crew, that also actually falls lower in the hem. So there's a nice overlap between these two things to make sure that your body is nice and sealed in there no matter the motion that you're taking. The waistband of this is a comfortable brushed fabric waistband. Keeps you very, I didn't have any spots or anything like that even when wearing a belt over these. And all the seams on this and the crew neck as well are both flat lock seams or lay flat seams. So no matter where they are, they're not going to put any pressure points on you. And KORA took the extra step in these, but primarily in the crew top to make sure that any of the seams aren't going to fall where a pack might be on there. So thus creating chafing points. And speaking of chafing, this is actually a big winner for me. Right here in the crotch, this is a weird thing to talk about. There's kind of a diamond shaped piece of fabric. And what that does is it ensures that you've got no seams running right through the crotchal region that are going to really chafe or anything like that. So it stays nice and comfortable even when you're wearing it for long days out. For both Rachel and myself, we never felt any breakdown in the fabric. Every now and then, after I'll tell you the circumstances of this a little bit later, there was a little bit of stretch fatigue in some places, but it snapped back immediately after being washed. I am typically a size medium, and these are in fact size mediums in pants, and especially in like spandex or base layers. That's what I wear as a size medium. Rachel, typically a size small, and the crew neck fit her a little bit on the small side. Not super snug or anything like that, just kind of on this side of being a little small fitting. So just size up accordingly if needs be. Now for the performance, I have kind of a weird confession to make, if you will. When I'm introduced to fabrics like yak wool or any sort of synthetic or new weave or what have you, I am one of those people who likes to take those claims of being antimicrobial or whatever and really put them to the test and see exactly how things hold up over multiple days of not being washed or anything like that. So I wore these guys for a stretch of 4 days without washing or anything like that. Yes, kind of gross, but I think it's a helpful test. After those 4 days, there was not one trace of stink on these, and these were pretty hard ski days that were particularly moderate in temperature, so they performed extremely well. And as I mentioned earlier, the only possible thing that I kind of caught on that was a little bit changing about the fabric was when I pulled these up above the ski boots, to pull them up my calf, they did stretch out a little bit just because I had them mid-calf where my leg is much wider than down at the ankle for 4 days straight. So at that period of time, these were a little bit stretched, but really not even that much, just a tiny bit. And the fabric itself never felt that kind of saggy fatigue thing, especially the ergonomic part right here in that high waist where it's going to come up and over my, well, admittedly bubble butt. I'd like to tell you that Rachel wore her top for several days and never noticed any stink, but Rachel is a lady who would never do anything that gross. Both of us found this thing to really perform extremely well. I can't, quantify the 4 times or the 40% weight for heat ratio that they kind of quote on the KORA website, KORA.net, by the way, but I will tell you that this is a very high performance fabric that is extremely comfortable, and I can definitely say that the feel over a period of time certainly does outperform pretty much everything that I've ever worn before. There's a price for this though, and that's one of the things we're going to touch on next. But I have to say that, you know, a lot of products use hyperbole and things like that in their marketing speak and what have you to sell their stuff. And of all the hyperbole that I've read, it just simply wasn't hyperbole. This thing lived up to its hype. I didn't find myself exaggerating or feeling like I'm going, oh, this kind of, This just did exactly what it is advertised to do, performs at an extremely high rate, and it's very, very comfortable. Now, you're probably asking, why didn't I try this on for you guys? Because I'm not going to put my long underwear on and put the camera down here and frighten small children. So here's a picture of a guy wearing the whole kit right here. You can check that out. Here's a girl wearing the whole kit. And so you can see how the hem of the top is a little bit longer. And then you can also see just the comfort and the basic ergonomic shape of the leggings themselves. So now here's the knock on this piece, and that is its price tag. Now the first thing before I get into the actual price tag is to keep in mind exactly how this sourcing comes about. KORA is sourcing all their own materials by going through and actually talking to the people that are picking up the yak wool off the ground. These are people that have to be paid. These are people that are doing this hard work, that are, you know, generating this material for this company, and then KORA is actually making their own material. Now, if it were sourced by somebody else, KORA would actually be paying more for it, and so they would pass that price along to you and I. But in this case, they're making everything themselves, so believe it or not, it's actually probably cheaper than it would be. And as KORA moves forward, gets their sources fully through the Kagawa Herders Cooperative, that's going to bring price down also. But for right now, the prices are definitely on the steep side. So for men and for women, the leggings as well as the tops are all the same price. And here it is, so please brace yourself. It is $145 for each piece. So the leggings for men and women are $145. The top for men and women are both $145. Yes, investing $300 in a base layer is a lot, but again, keep in mind its performance factor, how long it's going to last, its durability, and the fact that it's going to last multiple days in that antimicrobial state, keeping you clean, comfortable, and safe. And, you know, it's definitely something that's going to last you a long time. It's certainly a tough pill to swallow, and I have to say that if KORA wasn't gracious enough to provide us with testing pieces of this, we certainly would not be buying it because it's simply not in the budget. But it is a price tag that we hope to see come down in the years to come. While it is tough to validate that price, strictly from a fit, performance, and comfort and function aspect, the KORA 230 Shola 230 KORA leggings and crew top are extremely well functioning, and we would highly recommend them both. Before we get to the question of the day for you guys today, please don't forget to like and favorite this video and subscribe to our channel by clicking the button that's right here on my face. And now for today's question of the day, what do you guys like to wear as a base layer during cold weather activities? Do you go with a synthetic? Do you go with something like merino? And have any of you tried yak wool if you're going with a wool fabric? Let us know down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for spending a few minutes with us today. If you've got any questions at all, don't hesitate to email info@gearist.com or just swing on over to gearist.com by clicking this right here and click on that contact us button. We'd love to hear from you. You can also find us on all of our social media outlets, which you can see right here: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, my personal Strava. Also right down there in the bottom right hand corner, you will see that button where you can click and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which helps to support us. So thank you to all of those of you who are subscribed. Tell a friend, have everyone subscribe. Thank you guys so much for spending a few minutes with us today once again, and we will see you next time.